everyone. Welcome back to the Balanced Blonde podcast, Soul on Fire. I think we should start with a little deep breath together, since every time I have decided to start a podcast episode that way, at least someone has told me that they enjoyed it, and I know it's helpful for me as well. So let's collectively take a deep breath in wherever we are. Deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. Suck in a little more air. And release. Oh, that feels good. It still feels so exciting to be back introducing an episode on the podcast, a new episode, because this is only my second episode back after my 2-month sabbatical for my health. And I wanted to thank everyone again for being so patient during that time and for supporting the show during that time, listening to the best of show episodes. And if you did not listen to the best of show episodes, that's cool too. But thank you for being patient regardless. And if this is your first time here, listening to the podcast, welcome. We have an incredible guest today. Her name is Lacy Phillips. You may have heard her on a previous podcast. She also was on one of the best of the show episodes that recently re-aired. So if you love everything we talk about here and want to learn more about how she became a manifestation coach and so much more, or more of a manifestation advisor, I know that is what she calls herself. And she recently rebranded from Free and Native to Be Magnetic. So you can go to BeMagnetic.com to learn all about everything that Lacy does, all of her incredible offerings. I couldn't possibly sing her praises more, because I have been doing her workshops. I've been doing the Reparent workshop and also the Shadow workshop, where you really go deep and do Lacy's deep imaginings and kind of rewire your subconscious, which is so beautiful and so cool. So I also wanted to let you guys know that if you go to Lacy's website, to BeMagnetic.com, you can use the code BLONDE. It will give you 10% off, and you can check out all of her incredible courses and workshops. The business is incredible. Everything she's built, it's woman-founded, women-run. She has hired a team, and we talk a lot about that in this episode, because I, as a fellow female entrepreneur, find it really inspiring, the team she has built and the way that she's been able to really live her human design as a projector, to try to work minimal hours in the day and set up a team so that everyone's getting things done and her business is growing, and hiring people to do what she is not an expert at doing, because we are not all experts at everything. And that's a really, really, really good thing to learn. So basically, this episode was just a conversation between friends, and I try to really keep my podcast that way, very conversational. I don't write down very many questions beforehand before I have a guest come over, especially when it's a guest like Lacy, who has her own podcast, who has been on this podcast and many others, and a lot of people in the community know Lacy and know what she's all about. So when I have someone on the show, I like to introduce you to who they are on the inside and kind of introduce you to our friendship and have you get to know things about her that you wouldn't necessarily learn on her podcast or other podcasts that she's been on. So I hope you enjoy the conversational nature. We talk about mediumship and manifesting, of course. We talk about, like I said, growing her team, and we'll see what else we talked about. Because honestly, when I record an episode, I kind of black out. I'm like so in the moment that I don't always remember what was discussed. So the rest of it will be a surprise. And before we dive into the episode, with Lacy, where you can learn all of her amazing wisdoms and everything that she's up to right now. I want to thank our sponsor for today's show, Hum Nutrition. So Hum Nutrition is an absolute favorite of mine. I use their supplements every day, one way or another, and they are growing. I'm so proud of them. So I want you to know that you can use the code SOUL, SOUL, as in soul on fire, to get 20% off your first order on humnutrition.com, which is a pretty amazing deal. And I'm very, very grateful to Hum for offering our Soul on Fire listeners that code. So that's soul at humnutrition.com. And if you're not sure where to start with supplements, they have all sorts of things on their website that make it really, really easy. So you can take their 3-minute quiz, which is just a little unique questionnaire that helps us create your personal vitamin and supplement profile. You can also do a free nutritionist report where a personal registered dietitian on their site will review your data and send you a personal profile and nutrient recommendation. And you can also just customize by choosing the vitamins that you want and then save up to 25% when you order 3 or more. So it's really super easy. Plus, as you know, with all of the products that I recommend, they are completely safe, non-GMO, gluten-free, premium quality, sustainably sourced, and recommended by leading nutritionists. So like I said, you can go to their site and talk to nutritionists, which is what I think makes them extra special. So some of the supplements that I take every day with Hum, although I could go on and on because I take a lot of Hum supplements every day, but my personal favorite is the Daily Cleanse, which helps cleanse your skin, liver, bowel, kidneys, and lungs. It really just helps clear your entire body from toxins. And it uses organic algae and all sorts of cleansing minerals and detox herbs. It's completely vegan. And they have all these different studies on their site that like 80% of people who used it for 6 to 8 weeks noticed improved skin, improved self-confidence, and helped them lead a healthier lifestyle. It's full of supplements that I talk about all the time, like chlorella and dandelion root and milk thistle, and zinc and spirulina and all these things that I swear by, especially recovering from Lyme. So definitely check them out. There's a ton of other favorites on there. I know that Jonathan likes to use their collagen, which we always have laying around as well. They also have raw beauty protein, calcium, and basically everything that you can imagine that you know you probably need but aren't really sure where to get it. So go to humnutrition.com, use that code SOUL at checkout, and enjoy. Keep tagging me on your Instagrams, telling me what you think. And now let's head into this episode with the beautiful Lacy Phillips. Lacy, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so happy to be back. I'm so bummed because we just had such a great conversation before, but we'll cover it all again.
This is what always happens. We talked for probably like 30 minutes. By the way, you were so prompt. You were so on time.
Always.
Oh yeah, I remember that from last time.
I have anxiety because I have a Capricorn moon. So if I'm not somewhere right on time, it's like stressful.
Yeah, you were like 2 minutes early and that just doesn't happen in LA, especially because you're coming from, where do you live?
Yeah, in Echo Park.
That's exactly what I thought.
East side. Yeah.
I mean, when I go to Echo Park from Brentwood, I'm always late because there's a lot of traffic to fight and
completely.
I could take a page out of your book.
Have you shown everybody your new apartment? It's so beautiful.
Thank you. I've done some like Instagram stories and some pictures, but I haven't done a full tour or full video.
You guys are in for it.
Yeah. I will soon. We're finally like some of this art on the walls is new. That gray melon right behind you.
Great.
We just hung yesterday. Oh. So it's starting to feel like more of a home.
It's so Instagrammable.
I know.
The coloring.
That's what I always wanted. You remember my old place?
Totally.
It had, like, retro carpets and it was not photogenic, which was hard for a blogger.
Yeah.
I got used to it, but I lived there for a long time, for 3 years.
Wow. This is so, and you can feel the energy that you guys have. It's a home in here. It feels like a home.
And I totally manifested it, like I was telling you.
Yes. Tell us how you did.
So I really just got clear on what are my non-negotiables for a home. I want light, bright light from the windows, lots of windows open to the sun so that Hudson can sunbathe.
Yes.
He's back there somewhere. My cat.
Yes.
And I thrive in natural light.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted hardwood floors, a big open kitchen with lots of white.
Yes.
I wanted just something that felt spacious because I felt really crammed in my old place. And I wanted to keep it minimal, which I didn't know what that would look like for me as a hoarder. I just keep things, but I wanted to let go of a lot of things and start fresh. And lastly, I wanted it to be brand new, that no one had lived here, because after dealing with mold poisoning in my old place, and I swear there was diseases in the carpets. It was just a very old building. That's what I wanted. And I wanted it to be under a certain amount of money. And I kind of started thinking, how could that ever happen? How could I find a 2-bedroom for less than X amount in Brentwood, in this very specific location where I can walk to the farmer's market? But I knew it existed. And the day I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and my mom was with me, and she threw her hands up in the air and said, "That's it. We're getting a place in LA. I have to be here to help you. I need to help take care of you during this time." She started looking around that day for apartments for herself and found this building, which we had seen because it's about 2 blocks from my old place.
I remember because I was driving by and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. And we learned that it would be open for people to move in July. And at that time it was June. And everything was perfect.
Wow.
I got the first apartment here. We were the first people to move in, and my parents were the second.
Wow.
So
you totally manifested
like some crazy twist of fate, because my last biggest manifestation was I want my parents to live close. And you can't really get much closer than this.
You got all of it too, because your partner was a huge manifestation.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy that you touch on too, it was the day that you were diagnosed. So something that always happens with people when they're going through a crazy breakup and it's an energetic, but so for instance, the moment that someone gets broken up with or breaks up with, regardless, because it wasn't serving them, it's like the universe is like, here you go. It throws you all these bones. And if you look at it energetically, kind of what you were doing in that moment is you were breaking up with the unknown that's been causing you so much misery for so long.
That's so true.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense that both your mom living here, your parents and the place came through at the same time.
Yeah, I know. That's so wild.
It's amazing.
You're right. I didn't look at it that way, that I was breaking up with
a cycle.
Something that had plagued me for so many years, not knowing. And every doctor telling me, you're fine. You don't really have anything wrong with you. You're pretty healthy. And then finally to have that come to an end.
It's like an abusive relationship that you finally are breaking up with.
Yeah, it's like a celebration at the exact same time as
holy
a mourning.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit.
What am I
have
in
a
for?
new life ahead of me. Yeah. And I know you understand that because you've had so many health issues yourself. And the last time you were on this podcast, we talked about your hormones, and I will always remember you telling the story of not even able to drink green tea or something. And I'm wondering if it's how that all has manifested now.
Yeah. So like you, I finally found the right people to work with who could actually really test out with really extensive labs of what was going on. And they did test me for Lyme as well, which I am so grateful that that's one of the things that didn't come up positive. One of the girls who works with me on my team, she has Lyme, Hashimoto's, the gene mutations, all of the things. So I get to see firsthand. I can tell right away when she's going through all the inflammation. You can just see it on her, which is so hard. So I just want to acknowledge how tricky that is. But for me, it was really a matter of getting down my gene mutations, which seems like such a no-brainer, but I had the whatever it's called, MTF, whatever.
FHR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. From both of my parents. So it was really, I was going to have it whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
And then I had a really weird one, an enzyme mutation that wouldn't convert niacin into, forget what it's called now. You can tell it's pretty healed because I was so obsessed with it that now I'm like, who cares? Whatever.
Yeah,
I've got it under
exactly.
control. But it wasn't converting into something that also produced all of the energy in my body. So that, and really kind of following the protocol. Dr. Jack Kruse talks about this stuff a lot, but really being in the sun. So a lot of heliotherapy. I was really, really, really low on vitamin D. That was terribly low. Like, I forget what the lab said, but in the red.
Yeah. I had a similar.
You did,
Yeah.
which controls, it's a hormone, so it controls so much, inside of us. And so the only real thing that I have left now, I'm pretty much 95% healed, I like to say, but the only real thing I have left is still some insulin resistance, which does still affect not being able to have sugar. And my adrenals, I think, are still trying to heal from years of having to support all of that, of not having any energy from B vitamins, essentially. So that's still like caffeine's a no-no, cacao's a no-no. But it's kind of just down to those things now.
That's amazing.
Like I have full energy again. And I also, like we were talking about, have been living like a projector, my design, which has made a big difference.
That was something I wanted to get into with you is human design, who people listening to this podcast are mostly well aware of at this point because of Jenna being so amazing. And how does human design fit in with your manifestation work, and has knowing about it changed the way that you advise people to manifest based on their energy type?
Kind of, but kind of not really, because it's a pretty universal formula. The only thing that she really made me super aware of is that there's such a thing as a specific and non-specific. Are you a non-specific?
I'm specific.
I'm specific too. And she's a non-specific. So she's been really instrumental in helping teach our community about that, because one of the ways that we call in is on a list, if you're specific. And for them, they still have a list, but it's very generalized, and I like to give an example using Jenna's own story that she told me recently, but I think that we've also gotten really deep into the astrogeography.
I'm so into that too.
Oh man, but it's so informative. And so we were both born and raised on Pluto lines. And so we were just talking about recently she's been wanting to relocate from the UK. And, I think she gave a few conditions as a non-specific. It was like, I want it to be warm. She basically threw out like, these are my 3 things, but it can be anywhere, anyhow. It's up to you, universe. And then now her and her partner are moving to Monaco. So that manifested. So that's like been the really big thing, is just understanding the difference between specific or non-specific. And we have a really good episode on it, actually, Jenna and I, that we released on our podcast, I think a month ago, that really shows hand in hand of how, as being a projector, a generator, a reflector.
I listened to that episode.
You did?
Yeah,
okay, good.
on my way to Santa Cruz.
Was it helpful?
It was so helpful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Well, I was so happy when you guys talked about reflectors, because that piece helped me a lot. And I think, any reflectors listening will know it's not often that you hear about another reflector or some kind of example of how a reflector lives life that has worked out for them. And I loved that episode.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, it was really helpful.
So like the big takeaways from the human design piece, and if we just want to grossly generalize it all, whatever you have to do to be in your worth is going to manifest more. So like how that shows up for me as a projector, and just generalized as a projector, is basically not working as hard, and also waiting for an invitation, which can really screw people up. They'll be like, do I just sit around and not leave my house and wait? And it's like, no, you just don't solicit. So when you can see what needs to happen, you don't go, let me tell you really quickly without you asking me what needs to happen. But you still go after your passions and you go after your life. But so how it's actually been, like anywhere that you really step into your worth and don't settle will always bring things to you. And that's what I love so much about human design, is it shows every type how to do that. Essentially, it gives you, your authority and strategy. And so it's, I think, really instrumental of what you can do with it. But for me, as a projector, it's just been working a lot less, really having a team that can help me carry out everything. It's been getting rid of anything that is a no.
Yes,
My life, streamlining,
absolutely.
living in nature has been really beautiful. And I really
Yeah.
follow what Jenna's told me about clearing out the aura. So it's like sleeping alone a lot, which is really funny because Max and I often, because I'm such a nut about blue light and EMFs, that I make him go sleep in the electronics room because he likes to watch TV late. And so I'll be like, go in there. So half the night we fall asleep apart and then he'll come and get in bed. So
that's nice.
like just finding strategy that works for us. And it's been really profound.
Yeah, I bet. That's so amazing to me that you've dedicated yourself to living EMF free as much as possible.
It's hard.
I don't even know where to begin,
Yeah.
honestly. What have been some of the things that you've implemented?
Yeah, I mean, right here in the thick of it in the city is obviously so
Yes.
hard.
Yes. I feel like we're under like power lines.
Yeah,
like
totally.
It's everywhere.
And Wi-Fi is going through us in all of these buildings. But some of the things that have been like immediately within my control and really low resources have been to I like to obviously earth is hugely going out so it can try to take some of that out of me. And then at night, blue light's such a big thing for me. So blue light, like after the sun sets, there's no more lights on in the house. We have incandescent bulbs, which you can get on Amazon, but be careful because there's some that are claiming to be the old vintage, but they're really LED. So incandescent to change out all the light bulbs to that because that mimics kind of the flame of a candle. And then otherwise we go to like straight 17th century where it's candlelight in the house at night.
Oh my God. I love that.
It's
That's
amazing.
actually really romantic and fun.
Oh, it's so cozy. And you get all these beeswax candles and you just feel really connected and primitive. It's really, I love it.
I think that sounds fun. And then you turn your Wi-Fi off.
Turn your Wi-Fi off. So the other like EMF-y things and Wi-Fi stuff is we definitely have one of those cages over our Wi-Fi so that, and all of the computer pads and everything have the grounders. So the safeguard grounder so that it pulls the EMF down and it doesn't just...
I need to get those.
Yeah, fly into the earth. And then what's really important if somebody has a house or which you can buy, I think most of these on Amazon or EMF-y websites, but what is it called? Where the electrical gauge is kind of in your house, it's reading your electric meter, or I don't know what it's actually called.
Yeah,
but that actually emits kind of the most in the house, which is really bad. So putting a cage over that.
We have one of those. I think it's by the front door. Yeah, someone saw it.
Yeah.
Someone who was over here and said, you need to do something about that. I was like, oh no. Another thing in my home that's just
I know. You know what's so funny too? And then a couple of other things is obviously, turn your Wi-Fi off at night, unplug everything out of your rooms at night, make sure your phone's not in your bedroom at night. Just some like no-brainer free things that people can do right now. But the other thing that I'm always so curious about, because like Max is non-affected by anything. He's a manifester. Right. He's a double Virgo. Like he's the most earthy, heavy constitution. Whereas I wonder being projectors and reflectors and air signs that are we just, and Jenna will kill me for saying this, but are we just more sensitive than, I also feel like I'm a star being, which I think we talked about last time, that I think I haven't taken a lot of forms in the body.
Yeah, that was one thing I saw very clearly when I did ayahuasca was that I have not been a human very much. And I have in the past.
Yeah, me too.
Many lifetimes ago, but mostly not so much.
Yeah.
More like of the earth or of the stars or really just of, the universe.
Yeah.
And I was shown this image of myself like bumping into things and being really clumsy and dropping things.
Yeah.
And then being surrounded by other humans who are really human-like, picking things up for me. And that would be like Jonathan and my parents. And I saw, it was shown to me in a very loving way. Like, this is who you are and it's a beautiful thing. And don't waste any more time
trying to
acclimate that you weren't like that. Because that's the charm. That's who you are.
That's beautiful to receive that download.
Definitely.
Huge.
But I know what you mean. That I mean also as an air sign, like we're very up in the clouds.
Totally.
Affected by things.
Yeah. I just wonder if our constitutions are a lot more sensitive than most. And that's why we even have to think about things like this, or we're susceptible to illness and just so sensitive to EMF and blue lights and all the things that are, from the industrialization.
Exactly. I know.
Food, toxins.
I see it with a lot of people in my life who, like you're saying, Max is totally unaffected. Same with Jonathan. Like, he could eat anything. He'll do a month of raw vegan and run a marathon and be completely fine. Or he'll be a total carnivore and do the same thing and feel completely fine and look amazing. And just unaffected by those changes in my body, I would be flipping out.
Totally.
My body would be losing it.
Same. It's just not that adaptable.
Yeah.
Wait, so have you talked about being a vegan again?
Yeah, okay, good. I have.
Because I've been able, that was something we really talked about last time where I was like, I'm so sad and I feel guilty.
Right, you were really, but I always think of.
It's very like, I have to consume very, very little animal protein now, which is another thing of getting healthier. What's your experience been?
That's so amazing. I want to hear more about yours because I think about that all the time. You know how some people will tell you something and it just sticks in your mind a lot? Your diet and way of life had really stuck in my mind, like eating salmon for breakfast and things where I would always be like, wow, like it's so cool that she does that. That works for her. Because I was really different. Like even when I was eating animal protein, I could always sense that when I was eating too much protein for my body, it was wreaking havoc. It was like making me gain weight. I mean, that was the least bad symptom, but like that's always an indicator of like something's very off because the hormones are off. So I mean, I had such an interesting journey coming back to being vegan because when I first was vegan the first time, it was so blissful in the beginning and I felt like I feel so connected to this lifestyle. I love the food. It's easy for me. I love the philosophy of it. I love everything it does for the environment. I love the animals. Like I just felt on cloud nine about it before I took it too far and got more, I don't know, unhealthy from eating such limited amounts of foods. So then for 4 years, I totally ate protein, animal protein, all that. I was keto. I was paleo. And when was it? It was when I started to get really sick. With Lyme and mold poisoning and everything else that just deeply intuitively I knew no more. I was in Bali with Jonathan December 2018. No, wait, that would be last year, 2017. Okay. December 2017. And kind of eating the way I had been eating for a while, drinking bulletproof coffee, eating eggs and avocado for breakfast and like salmon and lots of fish and other things, poultry. And it just hit me I was so sick. I had like, there wasn't an inch of my body that wasn't covered in a rash or a hive.
I remember.
Yeah. And the inflammation was next level. I looked 9 months pregnant and my gut was so messed up.
Wow.
I was miserable. And it just dawned on me, especially in such a connected place like Bali, where I felt all I had to do was go sit in the jungle and just receive downloads. And I felt connected. And every message was flying at me to be vegan, be plant-based, just walk away from this way of life that had almost been like beaten into me that I had to eat that way or else I was going to be unhealthy and sick. And then I really flipped it and on that trip went vegan again and started seeing benefits pretty quickly.
Wow.
Although I was still very sick for a long time, I saw other benefits. I saw like lots of the inflammation went down.
Wow.
I lost quite a bit of weight, which felt really good because it felt like something is working. Lighter. Like my hormones are actually functioning again. And then I was raw for a while. I went back to Bali and decided to be raw. And that was like a little too much fat for me. Lots of nuts and seeds. And it wasn't until I did a water fast and learned about the salt, oil, sugar-free vegan way of life at this fasting center where they teach salt, oil, sugar-free cooking and everything. And so I've been that salt, oil, sugar-free vegan for 8 months now. I've never felt so good
So
in my
tell me, what does that
digestion.
look like? I mean, you've probably bored everyone with
No,
this.
I don't
Okay.
think I've talked about it a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm always like talking about it on Instagram and honestly probably just confusing people because there's so much information that goes into it that makes it healthy and makes it healing and anti-inflammatory. But to the naked eye, I feel like people are just like, what? That's so extreme.
Well, I want to just interject and say that, it was actually Jenna that kind of turned me onto this. I think the Medical Medium talks about it, which I've tried his stuff and I don't subscribe to it fully because it wasn't, especially with insulin resistance. But he did talk a lot about people who are dealing with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. A lot of it has to do with their liver can't process that much fat that they're consuming, which I had a very high fat intake.
Right.
And so I'll try anything to be better like you. I mean, it is my number one priority to have quality of life. And so I cut out a tremendous amount of fats, and instantly within a month, I could see the difference in my insulin resistance not spiking as much when I would have a date or something. So this piques my curiosity. I want to hear more.
Okay, just a brief interruption from this episode with Lacy to talk about Thrive Market and an incredible deal that they are offering to our Soul on Fire listeners. So basically, Thrive Market has saved my life on more than one occasion. Thrive Market is an online marketplace that has everything you could imagine, from food to wine, to vitamins and supplements, to beauty, to bath and body products, to babies and kids, and all sorts of home care and pet supplies. So literally it's like going to a grocery store or even to a pharmacy. And the best thing about Thrive Market is that everything on their entire site is between 25 and 50% off from retail price. And that's because they go directly to the brand and they don't have any middlemen in between. So a couple of my favorite things on Thrive, which you can find at thrivemarket.com/blonde, which gives you another special discount. So honestly, you're getting a huge discount here at Thrive. A couple of my favorite things are their spirulina powder, which is Thrive Market brand. You can currently get it for $12.99, which is a 5-ounce bottle. That is a pretty big deal given that spirulina in any other grocery store is much more, like $40, $50, even $60 or $70, depending on the brand. Thrive Market is totally trustworthy. Spirulina is something that I use. One of my greatest Lyme disease hacks and anti-inflammatory supplements. So they also have my favorite Ayurvedic pure copper tongue scraper, which I swear by, and I don't really know what I would do without it because I use it at least twice a day. I think scraping the tongue is basically the biggest wellness hack I could give anybody. Not only does it give you better breath, it gets rid of toxins on the tongue and just keeps everything clean, because in Ayurveda, when you look at your tongue, it says so much about your health. And if it's really thick or white or red, it can tell how much inflammation you have in your body, how much toxins in your stomach. So keeping the tongue clean is pretty underrated. And you'll also find some other things like my favorite Ayurvedic mouthwash, my Siete salt-free, grain-free tortilla chips, which are the only tortilla chips I can eat on my salt-free diet. So thank you, Siete. All sorts of Four Sigmatic products you can find on my Thrive Market favorites page, and all my favorite desserts, and also Hudson's favorite cat treats. So head to thrivemarket.com/blonde. That will give you an additional discount on top of the crazy discounted prices that already exist on Thrive. thrivemarket.com/blonde. Tell me what you think. If you have any questions, you can always email me, and I try to get back and tell you guys what I love about it so much. So enjoy, and let's head back into this conversation with Lacy. It was funny. It's funny and great that you mentioned Jenna, because when I started talking on Instagram about going oil free, this is one of many things that Jenna or I have said to each other, oh my God, me too. Like at the same time, kind of like realizations. And she was learning it from the medical medium, I believe, like you said. And I had learned it at True North, this amazing healing center in Santa Rosa, where I'll be going back in February for a month.
Wow. I should
So
give that a try.
excited.
How amazing.
Yes, I'll tell you all about it. It's
Okay.
so special. That was the game changer in my health. So I did a water fast for 2 weeks and just drank water. But while you're there, it's run by a group of doctors and chiropractors who are at the forefront of this salt, oil, sugar-free vegan lifestyle. And as simple as it sounds, like I feel that it hasn't caught on in the world yet. Like there, it makes so much sense and it's so amazing. And every day you can go to lectures and watch DVDs in your room if you're too tired to go to the lectures, because of course you're water fasting, about the benefits, and the benefits are outrageous. I mean, basically their philosophy is that oil is the most concentrated form of fat, and salt is the most concentrated form of sodium,
and minerals,
and sugar is the most concentrated, obviously, table sugar form of sugar. And to eliminate those things from our diet is the most anti-inflammatory thing we can do, because you're still getting natural sugars. I eat fruit. Natural sodium. I eat tons of like leafy greens and celery juice every day, full of the
it's like the medical medium, kind of.
Exactly. And then natural oils, of course, through like nuts and seeds and avocado and coconut, but the whole form. So I had to just kind of live it to see how it worked for me. And after the water fast, when my body was so susceptible and sensitive, that was all that I craved.
You know what's, this is great that we're having this conversation. So because of Jenna as well, we've chatted and she keeps telling me trajectory tidbits that are really working for her. And my body's so I intuitively eat, period. Like I really listen to what it's asking for and what it wants, when it wants, what quantities. And that was actually really profound in helping the healing process too. And I notice like it'll tell me in seasons when it's like just artichokes all day. It wants artichokes. Right. Because there's obviously something in there that it's needing to help it heal and that it's craving to complete it. But so Jenna really shared with me that she primarily only eats steamed food now, you know, and of course then doesn't really dress it with anything. And so I started that and that's been tremendous. So it's like I'll steam sweet potatoes and only eat that with nothing on it. So I think I still have animal protein, but in a way I'm kind of sort of pivoting to this philosophy.
Exactly.
That's
and
amazing.
It's all steamed. I mean, you can use other things. Like I have an air fryer that I love where you can just like, I don't even know how it works, but like without oil or anything, you can make like sweet potato fries.
Wow.
I don't know if it's as nutrient dense as a steamed sweet potato, but I mean, it tastes amazing.
Wow. I love that you're confirming. This is so reflectory and trajectory.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it has just worked wonders for me. And especially being so sick. So after I left True North, I was diagnosed with Lyme, because before I had gone to True North, I did all the Lyme testing. Then learned, oh no, I'm so sick. So I'm telling my Lyme doctor I'm vegan and this is how I eat. And she wasn't really telling me how I should or shouldn't eat. But she was very open to this and kind of seeing like, if this anti-inflammatory way of life works for you, this will be really interesting and could maybe really help some other patients. And it has worked for me so much that I now at my doctor's office, like literally just sit there and tell people, I mean, not like unsolicited, but people are like, you look good. You look like you're healing. What are you doing? So I've told so many people about this diet, and then they'll start eating that way and they feel good.
And it's literally just cutting out oils, refined sugar. So just fruit is all.
It's not hard. And especially if you're already like leaning toward plant-based. And my belief too is intuitive eating and don't do something just because someone's telling you to do it. So if it's more like your diet where you're eating a lot of this stuff, but you're also eating animal protein. That's amazing. Because
Wow.
everyone's different. So you kind of know what you need.
Totally.
For me, I felt like, okay, I've had enough animal protein for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And now I love being vegan. It's like part of me and it makes me really happy. And I'm so passionate about it.
Oh, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do if you can do it and if your body responds well to it. It's so
and
lucky.
I know both sides of the coin because I know what it was like to not be able to do it, not be healthy enough hormonally whatsoever.
Now I'm like, do you eat grains?
I do, but not a lot.
Okay.
So at True North, grains are totally like included in what they teach and what they make.
Oh, wow.
Oatmeal in the morning.
My body's been craving that. I'm like, I wonder if the oatmeal's okay with that. That's
I think
so funny.
So for me, I've like really tested that out because after True North, I was eating a lot of grains and a lot of like potatoes, like white potatoes. They're so nourishing and like satisfying.
Yeah. No, my body will tell me it's like too much.
Yeah. When I overdo it, I can tell. So I have oatmeal like a couple times a week or less, but I definitely eat it. I love it.
And so the way I'm making it is like, I'll just obviously cook it with water and put a ton of cinnamon in it. I love the cinnamon. And then I just eat it.
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
It's what I do too.
Wow.
And I'll put some like flaxseed sometimes or like a little bit of almond butter.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And so the oil and the almond butter is not a big thing. It's just like olive oil, like straight oil.
You just don't want to be like cooking with oil and pouring excess oil, using oil as dressing. But natural, I mean, I eat tons of tahini. There's lots of natural oils separation in tahini. So sometimes on Instagram, my followers will try to call me out. They'll be like, well, tahini has oil. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm not banning myself from any food that has natural oils. Yeah. I'm just not actively using oil.
Oh my gosh. I think this is primarily like what Jenna does too. Which she also calls the peasant diet.
Right. Wow. Which I definitely resonate with.
Wow.
And she does the whole like eating every 3 hours or so for the adrenals, which is another medical medium teaching.
Do you also, so you do the celery juice first thing in the morning?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Wow. And have you, because she's just like, look at, we should have Jenna here.
I know. She's the best.
She's the best.
Yeah, she was one of a few who really inspired me to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And once I finally became consistent with it, which was 2 or 3 months ago, every single day I think I've only missed like 2 days.
Wow.
And that was because my stomach told me like, not today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay.
That's when my skin cleared up.
Wow. Because your skin looks and your eyes right now look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And a few months ago, I had cystic acne.
Wow.
Everywhere.
Wow.
And I also have a great facialist. It's not just celery juice, but celery juice from the inside out changed things.
Okay. Done. You guys are my expanders. Yeah. I'm expanded to try it.
Do it. I just had it this morning. And honestly, everyone listening, if you want one tip for glowy skin and helpful digestion, celery juice. Yeah. And you can learn all about it from the medical medium. He has so many books, amazing social media. I mean, he'll tell you the science where I try to retain the science, but I just know it's working.
Yeah, so, great. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, you guys are my expanders now.
Yeah. So that's amazing that you're eating more plant-based and feeling really good.
I honestly, that was on my manifestation list. I think I did it 2 years ago. There was like a breakdown where I was like, please, universe, like, how do I get back? Because it feels so good when I did it. But due to the blood sugar stuff, the only thing that would stabilize it was the animal protein. And we were both talking about Human Garage that ever since I went there and he played with something that, let the pancreas flow and all the stuff flow. My blood sugar issues have totally cleared up.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Human Garage, the way that they work with the fascia and the body, it's pretty fascinating that the alignment of our bodies has so much to do with our health.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge, anybody who's curious and you're struggling with some sort of, maybe even undiagnosed illness or anything, I really do have to give a shout out to them. And I know you too, you're having them on the podcast, but I was really, really astounded with how effective it was.
I agree. especially after I'm sure we've both done so many things, like
Yes.
hoping they're going to work and believing that they're going to work, but then they don't really last.
Yeah.
This is lasting, and I have
Yeah.
less pain in my body than I can remember in so long, and just energy.
Yeah. That's all it's about too.
Yeah,
That's all we
having
want.
energy is so
I
exciting.
know. I know. I know. That was the biggest when I started to heal this last year, where I was like, wow, I'm not crashing at 11, at 2, at 4.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I'm consistent all day.
It's so exciting.
Just being able to live.
I know. I've been high off of that lately. I've been
Oh,
like at night, literally bouncing off the walls, saying to Jonathan, I had a real day today. I feel like a real person and I'm
oh,
not dead. I don't even have to lay down. I mean, like I should because it's the end
yeah.
of the day, but I can still be on my feet and do things. And
Oh, what a
it's
gift.
so, yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a huge gift. So, another thing I wanted to talk to you about, totally switching gears, is your rebranding and your
Yeah.
name change. And I'm so excited about it for you. I
Thank
think it's so
you.
fitting. So, tell us about that journey.
Yeah. So basically, when I started Free and Native, it was 2013, September of 2013. And I had gotten the download to just have a holistic blog, but have it modern. And, that kind of wasn't really out there at the time that I was aware of. And then it just transformed into so many different, things, layers, and then finally manifestation. And by the end of last year, it was like, Free Native doesn't really capture this anymore. So we really just decided that we were growing up and we rebranded to a whole new thing. And, we're grateful for what that was. And now we're a whole new thing, which is
Right.
amazing. And the coolest thing about it that we were really excited about was last year when the creative team, we were all together, our creative consultant, Amanda Chase at the time, was like, how can we make this even more accessible to everybody? And that's
Hmm.
been kind of our mission, is we want anybody who's interested to have access to this work. And so she came up with a subscription, model. And for a whole year subscription, it's only $24.99 a month now to access every single workshop.
Oh,
Whereas
that's amazing.
yeah, whereas before, the formula and magnetism to teach you how to manifest alone was $295. So
Right.
it's like the whole year is less than that one workshop, and
Yeah.
everybody has access to everything. And so that's been really cool because we had no idea how that would do. We were like, this is a
Right.
crapshoot, and it's going really well. And
Oh, that's
people are
amazing.
really responding and super grateful. And we had just like a slew of signups of gratitude because they're like, we could never afford it before. And now we finally can afford it. And so it's been
That's
really beautiful
exciting.
to watch that. And so now we're kind of, because when I created the workshops before, and we still have them a la carte for people who, want to just try one workshop. But
Right.
before, I tried to make them standalone, like Reparent could be standalone. So it would suggest 3 months of, neuroplasticity of one particular thing at the end of it. Whereas now we've been able to like create all of this bonus material in the pathway and ways to strategize. So it's like, they're not standalone anymore. One connects to another and to another. And my class is included in it, which I do twice a month, where I answer
Hmm.
everybody's manifestation questions. And so it's become really beautiful and cool and way deeper. And people can actually take the work so much deeper and work on it throughout the whole year, whatever phase they're going through or trigger that's coming up. And they can pop from one thing to another. And so we're just like, you can tell by the way I'm talking, we're so pumped
It's
and
so
excited.
exciting. So,
Yeah.
was this new name, To Be Magnetic, a
Yeah.
download as well?
Yeah, it was total. Well, no, the name, no, 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 no. Because Free and Native totally channeled through me that name. I mean, I was
Hmm.
walking down the street and I had been trying to think of a name for 2 or 3 weeks. And finally I was like, what am I doing? Why am I controlling this? I'll throw it to the universe. And so walking my dog one day, I heard somebody say free across the street and it just channeled right through. It was like I got chills down my spine. It was like Free and Native. And
Wow.
at that point, Native had zero context to me of anything
Right.
else but like getting back to our native selves, a self. And so this one, Around a Round Table, we were you should see our list of names that we were all like throwing out and
What were
trying.
some
And
of them?
what were some of the other ones? Unblocked and Expanded,
Uh
obviously.
huh.
There was one. What was one, like I am worthy? Because we were like, what really encompasses this work?
Right.
Self-worth. Like the way to become magnetic is to really step into your self-worth. So everything was a play on either what the workshops are, getting into your self-worth or magnetism. And then at the end of the day, we just kept going through all of these, and I can't remember all of them anymore. There's like a list
Yeah,
of
I'm
like
sure there were
50.
tons. Yeah.
And we're
That's so
like
fun.
getting the handle right away, or like buying the domain name right away, because we're like, oh, that's brilliant. And then I have an emotional wave, and being a projector.
Yeah.
And so my emotional wave would come back and it'd be like, nah, that's
exactly.
not.
Yeah.
But to be magnetic through it all, it was one of the first, and that totally stuck. And I think it was like an audible at the very last. We called it. We're like, no, we're going with To Be Magnetic. Let's do it. And
That's
so
amazing.
that was really cool. And I have to give such a huge thank you to everybody who's on the team, because they worked their asses off for 3 months to be able to launch this on the 1st. That means they took their entire holidays to do the graphics and change the
Wow.
website and change the copy, edit the copy. I mean, everything to make the whole new process to where people could navigate the pathway. So when we launched it on the 1st, I was just totally flabbergasted by how incredible they did.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I love the new name. When I
Thank
heard
you.
it for the first time, I was like, yes, that feels very, very right.
Oh, I love
Especially because
that.
your brand has evolved so much.
Thank you so much.
And your courses and your offerings are giving so much to people. And before, with Free and Native, it just was a blog at first. And
Yeah, that's
not
it.
just a blog, because a blog is huge and big deal and awesome, but it has evolved over the years.
It really has. And now it feels complete in a way.
Yeah.
Which is really beautiful.
Totally. And now you have a team in place. And that's something that really intrigues me, because I think as an entrepreneur, growing a team is one of the hardest things and one of the most key things as well. And it seems like for you, it's been so positive.
So positive. But I have to give so much credit, because it was actually something I was really afraid of doing.
Right.
And very scared. And before I hired, number one, I'll give a huge shout out to Amanda Chase, who has a creative agency called Ocean Creative, OSHEN. And
Cute.
she was the very first person I worked with who I was like, I'm mainly hiring you to help me hire my first employee.
Yeah.
Because I'm so codependent. I don't know how to do it. I hated being the employee of other people, and so there's so much that comes with that I had to follow my exact same manifestation process, because I called in the first person and I had to go through and expand through my expanders and ask them, and so one of my final expanders is Carrie Lynn of Cat Beauty. And
I
asked Carrie Lynn, I was like, how did you know when it was time to hire? And she said, oh, that's easy. Anything I can do, I know somebody can do it way better.
Wow.
And I was
so
like,
cool.
wow, what a powerful outlook. And so the very first person we brought onto the team is Lila, who's a very big part of it. And a lot of people know her. And I manifested her like a partner. I was like Capricorn in her young 20s.
Is she Capricorn?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she's amazing.
And how did she find you? Was she a fan of your work?
I think she was just following the Instagram, which we've mostly hired people straight off of Instagram, honestly, that they'll apply. That's where we'll sort of put the posting. And it's really funny, because unknowingly she had kind of followed the manifestation steps, where she was really unhappy in her last job and it wasn't the greatest environment. And finally, blindly, she was just like, oh, I hate it. I'm going to quit. And so she did. And this came right away, right after.
Wow.
It was everything
so you manifested
wanted.
each other.
We did. We totally did.
Yeah. And how long has she been with you now?
So now it's been a full year.
Wow.
And then it was really effortless after the first. And I, again, give credit, because I haven't actually physically hired anyone. They are who hire the next and the next. And so Becky came on next, who really runs everything. She's our project manager now. And she's so on top of it. I call her the mom.
That's so
She's
great.
So legit. And so between Amanda and Becky, they just kept, hiring. And some people were a fit, some weren't. And now we have a really, really tight team. And it feels incredible and beautiful and like a family. And we've found our flow, and we try to keep the communication alive. And I'm sure they're all just really annoyed with me every day is what's happening. But it's a really beautiful thing. And now that I've done it, I was like, how did we wait so long to do that? So I just want to impart that onto any entrepreneur. And I think Amanda once said that she heard at a conference, when you think it's time to hire somebody, it's already too late. You should have done it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful kind of jumping off point to know. like right now, I think we'll probably hire a personal assistant for me is about the time, because we have the house and the speaking tour coming out this year. And
wow.
so it's just like we need more hands on deck.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And then as a projector working fewer hours during the day,
Yeah.
do you find that it's hard to have a team because like they're there and you need to delegate to them, or they can totally function without
They're
you?
pretty amazing at functioning on their own. I think the one big advantage that being a projector gives me is I have a pretty good overview sight. I can be like, I'm not great at the micro, but I'm really good at the macro and seeing what's going on and what can move around and what pieces and where to cut the fat and do things. Whereas in the day-to-day, they're really incredible at the micro. And so for me, we are always finding the ebb and flow, because sometimes I'll really step away and not be as present. And I mean, like, I'm not even on social media at that time.
Right.
I'm really, really just trying to channel and heal and take care of myself, period. And they've been incredible with that, because when I first got the house up north, I haven't been able to stay there for 3 months because it's been fully under construction. But when I first got it, I was like, look, guys, it was after I did the Maggie episode. I was like, I'm going up there for 3 months, 3 weeks out of the month. I'll be in LA 1 week, because my number one priority is to heal and channel right now. And they were amazing with that. And then things will go on where I'll be like, ooh, I need to get hands, not because of them. It's just like the machine's always growing, like our whole community and, you know, what we're doing and the workshops. And it's like, oh, I have to come back in and become present again. And then I work way too much and get sick again and all of that. And then I'll be like, okay, everything's flowing. I'm going to step back, and they're doing it way better than I am. And now I'm just annoying them. So I'm going to go.
Yeah, now you can go do things like this and have the time.
Exactly.
The
or
energy.
Rest is the biggest for me.
For
it's
sure.
just rest and no people but trees.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
I almost forgot to tell you, speaking of Maggie, I saw her when she was here. So I discovered her on your podcast. And like I told you, so many of my listeners and followers said you have to listen to this episode of Lacy's podcast with Maggie, specifically about the Lyme disease and healing it. And it was so inspiring to hear.
Yeah.
And she became such an expander for me.
Yeah.
And then I met her when she was in LA and did a healing with the twins that she works with or trained under and translates for. And that was like before I started feeling actually better. I was still so sick, but for 2 weeks after I did my session with them, I felt almost 100% symptom free.
Wow.
Yes. And then it came back because, I mean, they almost said it would, because it was like I would need to work with them a lot because of all the heaviness. But they saw like some negative spirit in me that had come in when I was like 11 or 12. They saw all of this. So then I was trying to think of what was that. And then I think I know exactly what it was.
Wow.
And they used like scissors and all these objects and cut around my body, and
the candle, the Olympia.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Isn't it so powerful? And just that she's fully gone on to heal everything. I mean, it's so incredible.
Yeah. And
I'm so glad you guys connected.
The wilderness. So amazing.
Yeah.
That's my dream. I mean, you're doing that too.
Yeah.
It's so
I think that, like, again, we were saying before the episode, it's so hard to pinpoint what the thing is that's healing us, because we're doing so many things.
Right.
But I do like attest the sun heliotherapy, I think. And then definitely the human garage for sure. And the biomat's been transformative for me. That's huge. Do you use it
every day?
Every day. I do it while listening to the deep imaginings that we do through the workshops, because it takes me so much deeper into homeostasis so that it can just work its magic. That and then nature, those have been, and then obviously taking what I need, like a methylated form of B vitamins. And there's this really specific, I think it's called NCI. I can't remember what it is that I have to take for the enzyme mutation. And I think those have been the most profound.
That's amazing. So did you do blood work with like a doctor to find that out?
A naturopath. Yeah, finally. I've done them before, but she did a more extensive panel, to my understanding, because that's how we were able to figure out the enzyme mutation as well. So that was really powerful, which I have all of my healers on our page. If you go up to resources, I think, or staples or something.
Yeah.
It's on
After
there.
the first time I had you on the podcast, I looked, I saw most of those healers
Yeah.
after.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Good.
I was like, I'm going to see this one and this one and this one. And one of the ones I haven't seen, but I was really interested in was the angel healer.
Yes. Yes.
I should still do that.
He's wonderful. He's amazing. He was really, really profound on the journey for parasites and anything bacterial. He was really good at. So yeah, I keep trying them all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good to have multiple healers.
Yeah.
Someone was asking me the other day at Human Garage, one of the awesome people who works there, who are your healers right now? And that was such a cool question.
Yeah.
And I just listed so many and realized, wow, I have a really good support team. And that's why I'm healing.
It's true. It really is true.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my gosh. This stuff is so fun.
I know.
So fun to see.
I know.
You healing and
just the journey since we spoke last. I mean, it's been really so many changes.
Yeah, it's been like a year and a half.
Wow.
I want to say, or more. No, close to 2 years.
Wow.
Because I think it was March or April, close to 2 years ago.
Incredible.
I think.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
And I remember you saying doing like a hot springs and the minerals was really good for your rashes. So I tried that.
Yeah.
And I was so far gone at that point, but it was good to try it.
And it sounds like it was so internal too, from inflammation.
It was, and then realizing it came from a deep place.
Yeah. Well, you found the right path. And I'm so glad that you're intuitive. I think that's such an important thing for people to understand is rather than listening to everybody else's journey, really tapping in and asking your body. That's how I've been able to navigate is, do you want to do that next? Does that sound right next? Like right now, I'm in the process of manifesting the next retreat space and I have to keep doing, it's like a whole new branch of learning because with manifestation, when I originally started, kind of understanding what was really going on through the different steps and energetics, I was tested on things that I really cared about at the time, which would be like shitty relationships would test me. And then it would be like, oh my gosh, look at the person, and it seemed like a dangling carrot would test me. And then I figured it all out and I was like, oh, that could never test me again. And money doesn't test me, relationships, money, I get it all,
Yeah.
But now it's been really fascinating to see it all revisit with these houses because I'm so into them and I love redesigning them and getting them. Because like the house right now in Yosemite, it'll start being available, I think, as of April 1st. And we're going to be, it's a full Airbnb for people who want to go do personal retreats. And so they'll get full access to the workshops while they're there.
How fun.
Isn't that incredible? It's all incandescent lights. It's very EMF limited. It has its own infrared. It has an outdoor spa, meaning a clawfoot tub under the moon.
Yeah, wait, this is amazing.
No light pollution. So it's like a deep healing space. And so I'm creating these meccas. So now it's like this whole new form of, what manifesting the relationship was for me at 27. So
meccas.
I keep having all these tests pop up where it's like, I went to go look at this place. I'm looking a lot in the Pacific Northwest. I'll be looking in Scotland later this year. But I'm looking at this place and it's like, man, everything on paper, it's perfect. Like it's the perfect price. It's the perfect design. It's right on the bay, right on the ocean. It has everything. And I walked in and I was like, this place is so fucking haunted. I can feel
Really? Oh my God, that's freaky.
It's so crazy. And I'm already a medium. So I have spirits that are always trying to be around me and talk to me and communicate with me that I was like, I will never be able to heal and relax in this place. And I don't know how to clear them. I've never had success in it ever. I've tried all these things.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is so hard to turn down.
Feel it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could feel it right away. Like when I walked into the Mariposa house, it was the cleanest energy I've ever felt.
Wow.
That Yosemite house. It's like you could feel it's so pure, it's so clean and pristine. And then when I walked into this place, it was the best thing is like a very dark, and it could be multiple spirits, but it was like a very dark energy that feels like it wants to hurt me.
Ugh.
Like that was the feeling of it. And I was like, God, it's hard to pass this test.
Yeah. What a big test.
I know.
Oh, that's so weird.
I know.
About the mediumship of yours, how do you deal with that? Like boundary wise?
Man, that's been a journey. So it's been happening to me since I was little. Like, I think maybe we even talked about this a little bit last time. I can't remember. But yeah, they just love me and attach to me. And so here's a great story. I was just this last summer working in New York for a bit. And so the city becomes more and more overwhelming for me now that I'm on this healing journey. So I was there for 5 days and I was like, I have to get out of here. So I went and got a place in upstate New York, a cabin, like right in the wilderness. And I was like, finally, I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi, like unplug it, unplug all of the lights. It'll just be candlelight. I'm going to eat the steamed foods and really take this week to nourish myself and totally heal. I had the biomat, like I travel with that.
Yeah.
And 3 days go by. It's wonderful. It's so nourishing. My circadian rhythms get so in touch with the sun and I slept so deeply. And then I come home from dinner the fourth night. There's a window open and a door open. And this is how they like to mess with me, is always through electronics and opening things, which is the worst because it's so much more scary.
Yeah.
And so I walk in and I'm like, I could feel that that's what was going on. And before, like I've tried so many things. People are probably listening and being like, well, you could do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Right.
And I actually will get into a really good parallel to this soon with manifestation. But when I got there, I put salt all over the ground and all over the corners. Like salt is mama medicines really taught that with me. I set boundaries. So I speak to them like, I'm here to rest. I love you guys. You are totally welcome here right now, but I don't need to see you. I don't want to feel you. Let's just have our separate experience here because it scares me. So I set boundaries. I'll call in my spirit guides. I'll call in Archangel Michael. I'll do all of the things, right? None of it works. And so this has been my process of learning everything with manifestation because I've really learned that things in terms of sort of spiritual bypass aren't very effective for me. And they might be for other people, but I think they're not meant to be for me because I'm meant to learn the deeper route to help the people that even go, that doesn't work for me. Yeah. And that's how it's been for manifestation. So like you can visualize and you can do affirmations, but for a lot of people that really fails them. And why? It's because their limiting subconscious belief is completely conflicting with what they're saying on the conscious state, and that's where I believe we manifest from. So I think a very similar thing was going on with me, and I'll loop back to that in a minute. So then I go to grab my keys to go to this one hotel that wasn't far away from Woodstock that I like, and my keys were missing after I'd done a walk around the perimeter. And now I'm like cussing out loud at them. Right. I'm like, now I'm just pissed off. Like, you've taken my keys. I get an Uber 45 minutes away to go stay at this hotel, which I think is called Scribner's. People will know it who are into upstate. And so I go there. Out of all of the rooms, it's pretty full that night. Out of all of the rooms, 3 a.m., 1 a.m., my room's the only room that the smoke alarm starts sounding to where the fire department has to come out.
Oh my gosh.
And then at that point, after they left, and even the firemen are like, there's no reason why this should be going off. It's a commercial, like there's no smoke. And they leave. And I'm like, obviously there's something you guys want to tell me. It could just be my guides. I don't know. But it felt like spirits. And so I sit down, I channel this whole thing. I was meant to know it. It was powerful. And it's obviously why they were taking my keys and didn't want me to go. But it freaked me out enough where I was like, I need to finally address this.
And was it a positive thing that they...
Yeah, it was positive, but it still scared me so much, and I'm
scary.
Like... And they're a very common thing they do to me is they'll hide the things that really matter to me. They'll hide them until I get the point, like I get the message. So that's like a big thing when I know it's a spirit or spirit guides. Same thing.
So cool that you figured it out. Yeah. Wow.
So I got home and I had a friend where I was like, I need to get to the bottom of this because I'll be staying at that Yosemite property. And I know even though it's a clear energy, they like to attach to me from other places. So I'll be alone and that'll be scary if they're messing with me. And so a friend referred this medium who she had lost her family in a really tragic accident when she was younger. And she's like, I've seen every medium under the planet. This is the only one that's ever been legit and channeled my family through. And I was like, I'm going to call her. So I call her and she was like, you're 100% a medium. You're a star being, which everybody always says. She's like, you haven't incarnated for a very long time. And when you used to incarnate, you would come to either Yosemite, where I grew up at, or Scotland. Isn't
Oh my
that
God.
crazy?
That gives me insane
I didn't tell her
chills.
anything. And she was like, you used to be like with the Stones of Scotland, and you used to always have mediumship and a witch and all of those things.
Oh my gosh.
But you would go many lifetimes,
That's
like
so amazing.
in the celestial. Yeah. And so I was like, well, you're legit, because clearly that's, and she said a lot of other things
Oh my God,
that
she
for the people
sounds
that are like,
epic.
that doesn't sound legit.
Yeah.
So, but she was like, I want to tell you this, Lacy, and this is what finally worked for me in a way. She was like, you are such a high vibrational light being that they see your light and they can't help but gravitating to it. It's like a moth. And she was like, but I need you to know you will never attract in really low vibrational ones because you're such a high vibration. They literally can't be around you. So she was like,
that's really helpful.
So helpful.
Comforting.
You know, I was like, that takes a load off, because she's like, everything you've seen in movies and all of that, that's not true. It doesn't matter. But she was like, basically that if you are somebody who's a user and you do drugs and alcohol, it's a whole different thing. But obviously I don't even do any of those things. So it's just like,
right.
on top of all of the like Kundalini and meditate, you know, so whatever. So that really helped me a lot. And then she also gave me some tools about like what specific guides to work with and how to work with them when I'm alone. And after she kind of gave me the licensing that they can't ever really be that low vibration. If anything, they're just attached to me because they want to be around me or they like me. It really helped me not be as scared anymore. So now I've gotten really good about being like, I guess the point that I want to pivot back to that's really important for people, because I'm energetic and that's my gift, like I can read energy, is what happened when she did that. She expanded me into knowing on a very like deep subconscious belief that I can never be hurt. There's nothing scary about it anymore. Therefore, and I'll equate this to my dog too. Therefore, I don't project off anymore. When I'm saying boundaries out loud, they're not like, stay back, I want boundaries and yada, yada. But really what I'm projecting for my subconscious is like, holy shit, I'm really afraid. Please don't do anything.
Exactly.
Conflicting. Now it's like, I have domain. I'm not afraid of you. I love you. Leave me alone. I need space. And now they listen. So it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So I like to say that with my dog too. My dogs, obviously pets and children are such a great reflection of energetics. And so with my dog, there'll be points where we go on walks because she's been attacked twice, like by a pit bull who broke her foot. I mean, like, trauma, like deep trauma for her. It's not like I kind of got into a scuffle, like almost killed her twice. And it's been so traumatic for me that now I have zero alpha. I'm equally as afraid every time we're on a walk. I walk with a taser gun.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking, especially in the country because we have mountain lions, we have coyotes and packs of coyotes. And so she knows the moment that we're walking together that on my subconscious state, there's nothing about me that's projecting like I'm an alpha here. Don't mess with me. I'm the boss. So you're safe. So therefore she's out of control and afraid and all these things.
Totally.
And so I started to make that equation. It's just like manifestation the other day. Any of this stuff, it's all energy. Everything's energetic. That's why it's easier for me to decipher these things. But if we're projecting one thing in a subconscious space, but we're out trying to say or affirm or do something in the conscious that doesn't match that, it's just nothing's going to happen.
That makes so much sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is a very long-winded way to answer. Now I have domain and they don't mess with me, but I'm also much more clear now on, I don't question myself when I walk into a space and go, yes, this is very haunted. Like, for instance, my fiance and I were just in Ireland for a week and we stayed for 3 nights in this like stunning 1800s, I think it's the 1800s lighthouse, all to ourselves. We rented it in West Ireland. And right when I walked in, I was like, oh, there's 2 spirits in here and they're really light and they're wonderful. And Max is such a dense energy, like such an intense, that then they'll never do anything with me when he's around, especially because on his subconscious, he's like, don't give a fuck, don't care. Seen them, know they're around, don't care. Like, exactly. So that's where it's like, I just like to make that little, I don't know, point to people. And I like to say that a lot for people who don't feel empowered in certain states. You know, we have like a lot of community in the world, especially in this, very divisive time where they'll be like out and saying something or like fighting for something. But if your subconscious isn't empowered and projecting the thing that you want, no, you're just going to annoy people. It's not going to get anywhere. You're going to turn people off. And it's something that I think is really important for all the climates in the world right now, that it's like we need to get our subconscious straight, empowered, expanded. That's when we see the difference. It doesn't matter what you're ever doing in the conscious state or saying.
That is so helpful for me to hear, because
well, you just had it happen, right? Like in the ceremony before going there, you're like, I know I can heal. I know. But after leaving there, it's like something now on a very subconscious state. It'll be rapid, the healing.
I had that happen there 100%.
Yeah.
And in many ways, I saw that. Like, it reminds me, well, what you're saying about like with your dog and that whole story reminds me of when I first got Hudson, my cat. And I had never had an animal before, even as a child. Like, my family never had pets. And so I got him. He's this little 2-pound kitten, just shaking like a leaf in my hand. And I was just as scared as he was, because I'm like, am I fit to take care of him? Is he going to live? Am I going to do something like not be able to take care of him the way he needs? And because I was such a wreck and I was giving off these vibes to him of like, I'm scared, like I can't take care of you, I don't trust myself, I would manifest things to happen that were awful. Like, he got stuck behind the dishwasher the second day that I had him. And like all of these electrical cords were sticking out and I could see him. And it was like, if he moved like 1 inch, he would probably die from the cords. But so I was going insane and like screaming and just went crazy. And I had an assistant at the time, Danica, and she was so calm, and she was like laying there with her face against the kitchen linoleum, like looking at Hudson, and she's like, okay, he's breathing. He's still breathing. Like, we've got this. We can figure this out. We can get the dishwasher removed. And I had to call my friend Chloe, who has had cats her whole life, came over and pretty calmly like got him out, like with this little like cat laser thing, like the lights that they see, and then they come out, and then she just grabbed him and like pulled him. But I had no alpha in me. I was like, how did you grab him by the fur? Like, I would be so afraid. And she's like laughing at me, because now, of course, I've had him, coexisted with him for 3.5 years, and I would do anything. I would pick him up in any way. And we have a totally different dynamic now. But it makes a lot of sense to me that what you're saying, and like, no matter what I would tell myself in my mind and say out loud to him about like being in charge, it was like none of that was happening. None of it.
And that's like such a and I always bring things back to manifestation, because it's my, like my weird geeko obsession, my projector obsession in this lifetime. But that's a big problem that I think people have, even if, for instance, you don't resonate to this formula or you don't resonate to doing the work. That one simple thing, if you're not empowered in the subconscious state, if it's not a true belief in the subconscious state, it doesn't matter what you say or do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, after my ceremony, I've never felt so empowered, and I think in every single way. And people see me now, and they see like, your energy has changed. You're different. You're stronger. You're calmer. All those things, and I feel it so deeply.
I totally noticed that right when you walked in.
So deeply, because I just saw everything about myself, my soul, and how strong my soul is, and how all of these, this lifetime of blocks and pain, that I can get past them. But I saw what they were. So I'm like, oh, that's happening.
And you're like,
I
how
can remove
silly.
it. Exactly. But being aware of it changes everything.
I mean, for manifestation, essentially, like what each of these, it's all through neuroscience, right? We're trying to change the subconscious in this work, but that's exactly what you just did times 10 on super speed.
Right.
And you had a good trip, which was really good. Good experience.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
We did it 3 days and 3 servings on each day. So we went really deep. And the first day was like beyond positive and amazing and life affirming and connected with my ancestors and all of that. And the second night was the darkest hell.
Beautiful. You had to see your shadow.
Beautiful. It was so beautiful, because after that, and the purging and the screaming, and like, I truly had an exorcism.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the ceremony had to just listen to me because I was outwardly screaming, never going to stop, just like in it, and didn't know where I was. Like my body, myself didn't exist. I was just totally elsewhere. And then as that passed, I felt this crazy healing lightness.
Yeah.
And everything was gone. It was like pain that was not even my own. My parents, my grandparents, other people in the room.
Wow.
I was screaming out their pain
This
and
is
their
so reflective of
intentions.
you.
Totally, of course. I thought about that. I was laying there the whole time, and the only thing that made sense to me was human design.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's so real. It's so, I see it. I could see the whole like grid, and I could finally understand the charts. And I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful for that work because it's so real.
It's so real.
So I was screaming gutturally, like other people in the room who were strangers to me before that weekend, things about their life.
Oh, see.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew, well, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't even know I was screaming. But when I awoke, people were coming up to me. I thought I was going to have to apologize to everyone. Like I was so loud and disturbing. And all of you were just in your quiet journey, and I took over and wouldn't let anyone take me outside.
Wow.
I was punching people, like really, really in it. I was like coming to life thinking like, I'm going to apologize to everyone around me. I can't believe, like, I really hope I didn't ruin their experience. What if I'm someone who's not supposed to do this medicine? But it was so healing because everyone just was so loving and supportive and said, thank you for healing for all of us.
Wow.
And thank you for literally releasing like their personal demons into the ethers. And then it was gone. So it was like demons were flying through me and I could see them and feel them. And that's why I was so scared.
Oh, yeah.
But since then, I'm like better. I mean, my symptoms from sickness and Lyme and everything are going away.
Wow.
It's so wild.
Oh, isn't that powerful? Yeah. And also sits, like people really underestimate the psilocybin sits. I mean,
right.
That's why they're so tremendous at helping people get off of addiction. Like it's all neuroplasticity that's happening. You're creating new neural pathways or reconnecting old circuits that it's just very, very powerful.
And expanding. Because once you see it, you see it.
And especially then you're believing it all. I mean, it is real. You're in the collective consciousness at that point, or the Akashic or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? It's amazing.
It's so amazing. So fun. Who are some of your expanders right now?
Oh, I was doing a DI yesterday. I don't know, for maybe new people listening, those are what we call our hypnosis. They're called deep imaginings. And I had we're about to launch right now inside the pathway. There's so many things we're about to launch, but we're doing a full new daily reprogramming exercise that has all sorts of like different prompts and quite a few new DIs in it. And so I've been testing them and walking myself through it. And I was doing one, and this particular one is all about, my whole intention this year has been to become a lot more mindful. So just far more present and, in the moment and not having sporadic thoughts, and how I can connect mindfulness with manifestation. Because in essence, manifestation, especially this work, is a projection into the future or reckoning with the past. And so I do believe that there's such a way to bridge the two. And so that's sort of the thing I'm playing with this year. And I was doing one of them, and this one's all about mindfulness, and it like walks you through your perfect day and what it's like and what you're doing for work. And I just got blank. It was like, wow, I don't even know. I haven't asked myself that recently.
Yeah.
And so I took like a pause and let it fill in, my subconscious fill it in. And it was a lot of what it is now, but a lot more and grounded in nature and channeling, and not, again, like streamlining things so that I'm not needing to work as much. And then it takes you around this, these stumps in a circle, and it's like, bring in your expanders that already embody these. I was like, I don't know any. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow. And this is going to seem so cliche, but these are legit my expanders right now. I'm realizing Oprah, Eckhart Tolle, it's like, whoa. You know, and I would have never thought that they were. I mean, it seems, of course, like a no-brainer, but I was like, Eckhart Tolle has really come up as one lately. And I'm definitely not somebody who's been like, Tony Robbins is an expert, none of that at all. And in fact, like, I consider myself more of an artist than like a healer. I don't really even see myself as like a spiritual teacher or healer. It's just like, it's like I'm channeling an album, you know what I mean? And so Eckhart Tolle has really become one recently because I desire so deeply what I perceive that his lifestyle is like. It's very removed, meditative.
Totally.
Completely at his pace. No need for, there's no ego there. And so that's sort of my journey right now. And the other day I was really like simmering on his life for a minute because I was listening to, over the holiday, I was listening to one of his books and I was like, wow. And as I'm listening, I'm like, this guy's definitely an Aquarius. For sure he's an Aquarius. And then I look up and he's like the day after my birthday. And then,
oh my gosh,
it's like, what's his net worth, out of curiosity? Because I have a number that I really want to hit with the company. And then, not quit or anything, but it's the number I really want to hit. And I was like, yeah, we're on track for that. That's cool. And so I was like, wow, I'm really lining up with this expander right now. And not that I desire to teach what he teaches or anything like that, but it really goes to show like his lifestyle, how he's able to present in this world without having to really be in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I would say that those are kind of my expanders.
That's
right
so
now,
cool.
which is it feels kind of embarrassing saying.
No, I love that. I love him. Well, you'll love this actually. So when I was driving to Santa Cruz the other week and I listened to your podcast with Jenna, the next podcast I listened to was Oprah's podcast and he was the guest.
Yes, because they're doing a whole thing right now.
There was like 3 parts so far. I listened to all that. So I listened to you and him in the same car ride. So that's a whole other...
And there's such a gap in our energy.
Yeah.
For one's like still like a part of it and hustling and whatever. And it seems like I love this one thing because I listened to one of their old ones recently. And she was like, when I called you because of you were going to be on a book or a masterclass or something, you said, thank you. She's like, people are like usually like jumping on the roof and so grateful. And
that's so him because he's so like matter of fact and just
present.
Only saying the words that need to be said. Exactly.
Yeah, no ego. And she was like, I'm just reiterating, like we chose you. And he's like, thank you. And I was like, wow, that's my expander right now. That's so present. That's my dream and can still exist and do this work, but so present and so present in my needs. And so that's it right now.
That's so beautiful. So expanders really shift then. They
do all the time.
You outgrow an expander or?
I do outgrow them. I move at a really fast rate, like very quickly. And I think I feel so bad for my partners in life because I think I grow so fast that it's so hard for them to keep up with.
I feel the same.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's sad.
That's why I'm like, go do ayahuasca. To everyone in my life, which is like, okay, I would never like actually force that upon someone because it's a very personal journey, but also I am different.
Yeah.
As cliche as that sounds.
Yeah, no, it's
because,
true.
You hear people do that kind of journey and say that kind of thing. But I deeply feel that way.
Yeah.
I am totally different.
Yeah.
I have a different perception of everything in my life and beyond. And the people close to me, I want that for them, but I want that for our relationships as well.
Yeah. I think that'd be powerful for you guys to have that like new level of consciousness together.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's on its way. It's happening I'm like, we're getting married in November.
Yes.
Like, this is going to happen before then. It has to for me because
that's perfect.
That's how I feel. And and
some people
totally
go to counseling.
On board.
You guys go on journeys.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. It's my therapy. That's for sure. And I love therapy too.
Yeah.
But that took me to a certain place and then this took me to a different place.
Yeah, same. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that's for anybody who has that question, who's familiar with the work. You can have fragment expanders. So that means like they just embody a certain, aspect of what you want. So like if you're calling in relationship and you haven't ever seen a relationship that has great communication, but that's an important thing for you, you can have a couple that you admire that just has that. So I have many, but I do outgrow them very fast. My expanders, like, even people that were expanders 3 years ago, they're all my peers, and they're all,
Right.
yeah, we're all, if not, we're all in the same like league of love and work and success. And
Yeah.
I do outgrow, and I outgrow personal ones very quickly. But it's not like leaving behind. It's just like wow, we're doing this together and we're lifting
Right.
each other up together. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So much has happened since the last time you were on. I mean, I think we might have said at that time you should start a podcast.
Oh,
and now you
gosh.
have one.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Which I never insisted, just like the book, I never insisted on having a
Right.
book. And I'm still like having a hard time with that process.
Yeah. So what's your book about? Manifesting? I'm
Well,
guessing.
yeah, it's going to kind of be a user guide for anybody who wants something that they can hold and is accessible to. The first one will be like the overview of the work and the process and how to do it and tools and tips. And we're in it right now, but I'm just so resistant to that, which is crazy. That's a
Yeah.
tricky thing. But the podcast, we never insisted on having, and we kept sending out surveys, and that was the number one thing people all requested. And we're like, okay,
Wow.
we'll do it, which we are going to have you on soon too.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm finally well enough,
To
I
come.
believe, to do that.
Oh.
And it'll be so fun.
Yeah, we would love, you're going to be a great guest because people are going to be so interested, and you've been on such a journey lately. So many tools.
Yeah, it's wild. And I've been doing your work interspersed as well. And I can
So
say, I mean,
happy.
that's why I believe me healing, it really can't be attributed to one thing.
No, me
It's
neither.
everything. It's like
Yeah.
I'm doing your work. I mean, I could now list 100 things because that's
Yeah.
kind of what I feel I'm doing. And
Yeah.
my life before any of those things, I was floundering
Yeah.
and I was doing the best that I could, but it wasn't what I needed to
Yeah.
heal.
No, I love that. And I love that you're open about that because I think it's so, and I think that's just part of your journey in life too, is to be a tastemaker of this, to show. That's why you're
Definitely.
going through it, to
Yeah.
show people what can work or not work, or how to have,
Yeah.
what to have an inclination towards or not. And that's such a special thing, even though there's suffering involved. in
Right.
between.
I had to see that. I had to see. I know that being sick is part of my soul's purpose
Yeah.
on this earth.
Yeah.
So
And
tell
being in a body.
tell me what the purpose is what I
Yeah.
really was asking. The medicine in my ceremony, and also just what I've been asking myself for the
Yeah.
last few years. And I feel clearer on it now and feels so good.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, you look like a whole different person, not just physically, but energetically. You're a whole
Yes.
different person.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
I feel it. And thank you for coming back on. This is so fun. So tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes, you can find it at tobemagnetic.com is the site. And you
Mhm.
can find us at To Be Magnetic. And then our podcast is called Expanded with Lacy Phillips on like all the things,
Yeah.
Stitcher, iTunes. I don't even
Right.
keep up. I don't know what
I
they're all
know.
on.
iTunes is probably like, that's where I go for my podcast, but I don't know. People go all over the place.
Me too. I just go straight on the
Yeah.
phone
Yeah.
to the little
it's easy,
podcast
the app.
icon.
Yeah. Your podcast is so good.
Thank you.
I've listened to most of all of the episodes for
Wow.
sure.
Thank you so much.
Starting
I never
with
know.
Maggie's. Yeah.
What's that?
Starting with Maggie's. That was the first one I listened to.
There's so many takeaways that I implement from that. Like,
Yeah.
I would be out on the deck nude sunbathing.
Yeah, I know. Oh, getting in the sun.
Oh,
Feels
and
so
the earth.
good. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Well,
so
this is so
grateful. You're
fun.
such a light. And thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me back on.
I'm so grateful to have you back on. So fun.
Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode with Lacy. I hope you learned a lot. I swear just being in her presence makes me feel really good and happy and like I can manifest anything I want into my life, which is such a good feeling. I love her. I appreciate her as a friend, as a person, and she's definitely one of my biggest expanders. So don't forget, you can go to her website, To Be Magnetic, and use the code BLONDE for 10% off of any of her programs and workshops and courses. She also has a lot of cool things in the pipeline as she shared with us. So stay tuned for all of that. You can listen to her podcast, the Expanded Podcast, in iTunes. It's amazing. And also, thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Hum Nutrition. my favorite beauty supplements that radiate from the inside out. Use the code SOUL for 20% off there. And also, thank you to Thrive Market, my favorite online marketplace for all the healthy goods. Go to thrivemarket.com/blonde to redeem the incredible deal and basically get tons and tons of superfoods and products for way less. And honestly, just thank you to you guys for being here. This show would be nothing without you and the support you've shown me both during my time off and now that I'm back. So thank you times a million. I really don't even know what else to say because I could go on. Also, if you're still here and listening, I am giving away my Soul on Fire yoga ebook, which is almost 400 pages of yoga goodness. Everything from pose breakdowns to Sanskrit glossary to tons and tons of flows. Very beginner friendly, but can also be used with intermediate and advanced practitioners. I'm actually giving it away to every single person who rates and reviews the podcast this week, which is a continued celebration of being back to the podcast after my time off. I really enjoyed reading your ratings and reviews last week, so we're doing it again. So just email me a screenshot of your rating and review in iTunes to jordan@thebalancedblonde.com. I will send you my Soul on Fire yoga ebook, and it's really just a fun way to connect and for me to hear from you and what you love the most, and just get to personally thank you for supporting the show. Lastly, join our Soul on Fire podcast tribe on Facebook if you haven't yet. And also, if you're sick or interested in learning more about the chronic illness life, we also have a high vibe chronic Lyme and chronic illness tribe on Facebook, and would love to have you there. It's a really, really awesome community, just like our Soul on Fire podcast tribe. It's literally the only two things that I use Facebook for, other than the occasional posting an engagement photo or something, because we recently took those and that has been really, really fun to share. So yeah, come connect on there. Lots and lots of different places to hang out. And thank you again for being here. Love you guys so much. Have a very Soul on Fire day.